What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to do a video on the ZooMed Reptibator, the egg incubator that they sell for reptiles. I'm going to go over the positive and the negatives. I'm going to start with the positive list and I'm going to get right into it. So I'm going to add a built-in thermometer with the probe so you can set whatever temperature you want the incubator to be at. It sets it for you and keeps it there for you at that temperature. I'll let you know when it's heating up. There's a little red light that flashes. You can make it cooler or hotter. You can change it from Fahrenheit to Celsius and whatnot. You can set an alarm, which is a really good thing. So it's really important to have something that controls the temperature inside with a good probe, which this one's really good. So yeah, anyway, so that's number one, is the good built-in thermostat that it automatically comes with no matter what. You don't have to worry about anything as far as making sure the temperature is right inside, because this thing will do it all for you. Another positive is that it is pre-built, meaning you literally go to the store, you buy it, and that's it. You literally bring it home, unbox it, plug it in, and you're good to go. If you make your own incubator, obviously you gotta do everything yourself. You gotta figure out the heat part of it. You gotta figure out how the air is gonna get blown around, how you're gonna control the temperatures, etc. So it's really nice because you just go to the store and you can literally buy this, which leads me to my next point is they actually sell these at your pet store. So you can I'm not sure if Petco or PetSmart sells them. I'm pretty sure they do, but like any local pet store will have it. So you don't have to get it online and wait for it to get shipped or pay for shipping. You can just go right to the store, get the box, and bring it home with you. It's also nice because it pretty much goes with the same point. It's literally plug and play. Like I said, take it out of the box and you're good to go. Next positive thing, and the last positive thing I'm going to mention, is there is a place under here, as you can see, where it has like little imprints on it, and around the whole thing. And this is really good because it helps keep humidity, and there's actually a spot to put water that's not, you don't have to use up space to put like a little container like that of water in to make sure it stays humid. It kind of provides that for you. So like I said, that's pretty much it for the positives. Now let's go over the negatives. So the first thing I want to point out is the incubator itself is pretty tiny. As you can see, these are the containers I use for my eggs, and I can fit like about 3. So you can't really fit one in there. So you can fit about 3 and then one on top of each other. So you can fit 6 of these tubs. Now if you have a ball python that lays, let's say you have 2 ball pythons and they lay 12 eggs. So both of them lay 6 eggs, so you get 12 eggs total. You're pretty much going to be screwed because I could fit 2, maybe 3 ball python eggs in each container. So let's say I could fit 3, 6, 9, 12. I guess you wouldn't really be screwed if you could fit 3. Most of the time I could fit 2, and most people who are breeding reptiles are going to get more than 2 clutches of ball python eggs. Now I will say though, even though it is tiny, it does work well for leopard gecko eggs, because you could use pretty much 1 container per gecko all throughout the season for their egg, or more depending on the containers you use. But as far as like bigger eggs, like snake eggs, you can't really fit too much in here. So it's really tiny. So the next thing I want to go over is the build quality. And this is probably my biggest gripe with this incubator, is it's literally, as you can see, made out of styrofoam. Like if I just squeeze it, it's literally just cheap styrofoam. And the top is really thin, like plastic, super thin plastic. Even the heating elements are like really thin, and they seem like they would break real easy. The bottom is really just like a foam egg carton type material, and the bottom is just foam. So as far as the build quality, it's really bad. One, it's just really bad because the last thing you want is to have like a incubator with holes or cracks in it or whatever, so like all the air temperatures get all messed up inside. So I don't really know exactly why they did like this. I guess they did it to cut costs, but that will bring me to my next point, is the cost was super expensive for what it is and the size, especially because it's styrofoam. I think, and don't quote me on this, I'll check later and put it somewhere in the video, how much I actually paid for it. But I believe it was like $200. So you literally pay $200 for styrofoam.
I got a $100 check from my grandma, and my dad said I need to put it in the bank so it can grow over the years. Well, that's fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that check in a money market mutual fund. Then we'll reinvest the earnings into foreign currency accounts with compounding interest, and it's gone.
A little piece of foam and this plastic with the heating. I guess the most expensive part of it would be the, I guess, like the thermostat that's on top of it. But for 200 bucks, you could definitely make a homemade incubator for around the same price or even cheaper. That's literally 20 times the size of this, if not more. Like, you could literally buy a used refrigerator and have that whole thing for an incubator cheaper than this thing was. Another reason why the build quality is terrible is because you have to be really careful with this thing. So when you store it, you can't really put it somewhere where it's going to fall, because if it falls, you're probably going to snap the styrofoam. You can't stack anything, even though it's like small, compact, and pretty flat. You can't really store anything on top of it because, like I said, it's styrofoam and it's super light. It's like, this probably doesn't even weigh a pound, maybe a pound if that. So it's really hard to store. You kind of have to store it in a spot where there's nothing else there that could break it or sit on top of it. I mean, I guess if you have stuff that's really light, you could put it on top, but it just makes it a pain in the ass to store and put away for the year. The fact that it is open top and spread out like a square, it does take up quite a amount of space, considering that you only hold a certain amount of eggs in here, a little amount of eggs. So you can see this is my big snake rack. It's a big rack, and it literally takes up more than half of the whole dang rack. The other incubators that are even like small pre-built that you can buy at pet stores, they're usually open fronted. So you literally can just open it through the front instead of having to take the top off. It's just super pain in the ass. They have to take the whole top off. Makes it even more pain in the ass because you don't want to touch the heat while you do when you take the top off. It's going to be hot. As well as it just releases all the humidity and all the, the right correct temperature. It just blows all out as soon as you open the top. It's a really stupid design, but I knew that going into it. I just didn't really think about it till after. Thing is, I guess the last three things I'll point out is, so like I said, it's nice that it comes with the heat and the thermostat and the probe, but the heat literally just sits on top. Like, these things just get hot and it pulses whatever, like if it's 90 degrees, you can get 90 degrees, and it pulses 90 degrees like every 2 seconds or something like that. It is nice because you have the heat and the thermostat to control it, but as you can see in the setup with the styrofoam at the top, there's no fan that will blow the air around. So it's literally just stagnant hot air that's not getting blown around. So it's going to be a lot hotter on the top, it's a lot cooler on the bottom, and it's kind of hard to adjust to get the correct temperatures you want in the tubs because the heat comes from the top and there's nothing pushing the heat. So it's super frustrating, and I don't understand. Like I said, the biggest part of most incubators is a fan that blows the heat from the top to bottom, left and right, all over the incubator, so it stays the constant correct temperature constantly. The second thing I want to point out before I close this up is there are no lights. My last incubator had like a little blue light. You click the button and a light would illuminate, so you didn't have to open and check the eggs. You could look through the front door, had a big glass panel, and you could literally just turn the light on and you can see the eggs for the most part that are in there, so you don't have to open and mess the temperatures up. That's one of the most important things you have to consider with the incubator, is keeping a constant right temperature for the eggs. And the last thing I want to point out, which is kind of something silly to point out, but I think it's mostly just how it's set up, with the top that goes from the top and lays on flat, is this probe is like, as you can kind of see, like if you move the top at all, it's always moving. So it's always in like a different spot. The cord's not long at all for the probe. So I constantly open the lid to check on something. You constantly have to adjust the probe and move it. It does work well. It's a pretty high quality built probe though, I will say. Like, it's not like sometimes I got like really cheap probes. This is pretty nice. It's not like the metal ones that I would prefer, but it's built pretty well, at least the probe and the thermostat part. Besides the actual structure of it, this part does work really well. But without the fan and the air circulating, I don't really trust it too much. So hopefully I'm going to be getting rid of this thing soon and probably building my own. That's the review, pretty much. I try to give you as much positives and negatives as I had. I think I've done 2 clutches in this thing so far, so I think I have a pretty good understanding of how it works, how well it works, what's the pros and cons. Like I said, at the end of the day, the reason why I bought this one was the last one I had. I think I ended up lasting 4 or 5 years, but it ended up breaking. So I was kind of pissed that, you know, I had to buy a new incubator. So I went to try a different brand and a different one. Actually, now I'm thinking it might be the same brand, just a different incubator. But regardless, so I grabbed the $200 that I think I paid for it, went to the pet store, bought the incubator, and just brought it home and set this one up. So that's why I chose a different one. I probably wouldn't have chose this one if I didn't want to try something different. But yeah, guys, so that's the review. I wouldn't recommend the incubator. If you just need something, let's say you breed 1 or 2 leopard geckos a year and you do it for fun, I guess it's not a bad option because it does come with everything. I guess you could technically incorporate your own little fan somewhere if you're really worried about it and want to fix that part. But for the most part, it's really not that bad of an incubator. It is $200, but it's super simple. You don't have to build one yourself. And you just, like I said, you go to the store, buy it, bring it home, and you're good to go to hatch some eggs. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.